I'm being serious, man. We can't just expect Haaland to come in and score 25 goals next season. Yes, people, welcome back to the 1894 for a brand new Erling Haaland video, and we are no longer talking about whether we're going to sign him or not. In this video, we want to talk about how will Erling Haaland fit into Manchester City's system. Now, let's bear in mind, people, it is the first time we have had an out-and-out striker properly. Obviously, we have Jesus in the squad, but he's really reverted from that striker role into being a winger because Pep doesn't trust him quite clearly in the number 9, and he's not really consistent enough. That'll be another video. We will talk about Jesus in another video, but we want to talk about what life will look like for Manchester City and Pep Guardiola's, really unique system and style of play with this brute of a striker coming in and hopefully providing us with more goals on top of the ones we already scored. Now, Joe, before you give your opinions, I think it's worth bearing in mind Manchester City have this season scored 94 goals, the most out of any club in Europe without a striker. How do you think bringing this guy in is going to improve us, unimprove us, whatever way? How is he going to fit into this? And how do we support this guy? Do we make this guy the focal point and we build around him? Or is Pep going to have to somehow find a way to get Erling Haaland to fit into our system and give Erling Haaland a bit of an adaptation period?
It's tricky because adding him in take away from something, whether it's adding him into a system that doesn't really suit him, takes away from his game, and changing the system just to suit him and for him to be that main focal point takes away from other players. So it is really a difficult situation. Obviously, if he is the main focal point, then I do believe that our total goal output will decrease, even though we do have someone who's going to take those chances. If he's the guy who's going to be, if we're working it towards him and only him, we're not going to be scoring 94 goals. We'll still score a lot of goals, of course, but you look at De Bruyne scoring 40 of a week. That doesn't happen if Haaland's in the team. It just simply doesn't, because Haaland's getting on the end of those chances instead. So I think the main thing about this is it's not to score more goals, and it's not going to make us score more goals, but it will help us turn them 2-1 defeats where we miss about 4 chances into 3-2, 4-2 wins. It'll help us turn them 1-0 losses to Spurs, hopefully, into 2-1 wins. It's stuff like that I think we're more likely to see a points increase, which is scary considering we're getting 90 points a season. But we're more likely to see a points increase than a total goals increase, because he is going to take those chances that we get in tight games where we're currently slipping up because we're not clinical enough. But it doesn't automatically mean we're going to hit teams for 5 or 6 every week.
I get what you're saying, and I do agree with you, but I just want to play the devil's advocate for a second on that point where you think maybe, take for example that Wolves game where Kev scored 4 goals. Is it a possibility where for Pep to find a balance whereby we can continue the success we're having from our wide players and our deeper midfield players and throw in the extra firepower that Erling Haaland will bring? I mean, a lot of people will naturally expect when you bring in genuinely the most out-and-out striker footballer you can find in the world right now in Erling Haaland, because a lot of people do question his build-up play at times. A lot of people sometimes question his first touch, but there's no question marks over his just out-and-out finishing ability. He can put the ball in the back of the net, get the ball to his feet, and he'll rifle the ball into the net, a lot of people believe. So is Pep, do you believe, Joe, or is there a possibility that Pep can strike a balance whereby he can maybe adapt Haaland's style of play? Bear in mind, he is so young that he is able to learn quite clearly, where you can adapt his style of play to maybe get involved in build-up play or still allow players like De Bruyne and Mahrez and Sterling, who we will talk about, to come into the game more. Because I don't think Pep will really want to sacrifice the outlets we do have currently and put all that pressure essentially on Haaland to clean up the goals, if you kind of get what I mean.
Yeah, because it just won't work. I mean, I watched the North London derby. At the time of recording, it was yesterday, and I think the time this video goes out, it'll also be yesterday. But I watched Harry Kane. He scored 2 goals. One was a penalty, one was from a corner. He really struggled because Arsenal just threw bodies at him, a low block. That's something that you have to keep in mind as well. A team like a Wolves who play with a low block, it's going to be difficult for Haaland to really get any space to do anything. He's going to have to adapt. He's going to have to be slightly better at keeping hold of the ball, holding the ball up, spraying passes to his teammates. He's going to have to provide better service. It's something that naturally he's just going to have to get better at, and he will improve at it. Pep will improve it because it's the way we play, and if he doesn't perform, then I mean, no player's bigger than the club, really. Let's get that right. If he doesn't perform, then he'll find himself out the team. Pep's not afraid to drop star players if they're not performing, so he will need to work on it. He will need to improve, and he will improve. He's 21. He's got so much room to grow. He's already perfected his finishing. He's already a freak of nature when it comes to speed. It's the only thing that's really letting him down is his sort of getting his teammates into play. I've watched a couple of games of Dortmund, and sometimes his first touch might be slightly off and his pass might be slightly too overhit or underhit. It's something that he will obviously naturally get slightly better at as time goes on, and as Pep gives him this advice and gives him, training sessions. I don't think it's right to expect him to score on his debut and score low, like score 5 in 5 from the off. Like, it's just unfair. I mean, we normally say give attacking players a season because it might take them a season. Obviously, with Haaland, it is slightly different, but, don't expect right away for him to be the finished product. He's still got a lot of... For how good he is, he's still got a lot of development to go.
Yeah, 100%. He has so much more development to go. And he obviously came to City because he feels Pep and City on the infrastructure we have set up, through facilities and the current squad we have is the best place for him to hopefully max out his potential. And I think it is the right place and it was the right decision. Now, I do get everyone's hype around signing Erling Haaland. I mean, if you watch our channel for a while, me and Joe and the rest of the lads who made videos on this guy, we've been hyped for months about getting this over the line. And then when it was done, we were absolutely buzzing. But I do want to bring it back down to earth a little bit from the hype and say, it's possibly unfair to expect him to come in and hit these numbers that people are throwing out. I think if you think about the logistics of it and the way teams will now start to fear us is no longer a case of if you can keep City's wide players out wide, don't let them cut in and cause trouble, and congest the middle of the box or the middle area, you have a very good chance of not conceding. But it's once you give our creative and fast players space that cause trouble. Now, throw this guy up front. Central defenders and fullbacks and whoever we're up against as a defence, they're naturally going to want to nullify this guy. They're going to crowd him out. Both centre backs will be all over him. They might double up on him. You might see holding midfielders dropping deeper to make sure this guy doesn't get into pockets and pick up the ball and that kind of thing. Teams are going to be really out to just quieten this guy down. So that will be something that Erling Haaland will have to overcome, and it may be a new experience for him coming to the Premier League and facing some of the best defenders in the world who will be all over him to stop this guy scoring goals, because he obviously is, regardless of what pedigree he has in the league, whether it's even though he has none right now, they know what trouble he can cause. And if Haaland can use this to his advantage, he may not score the number of goals he would like, but he will be a massive positive contribution to the team because he'll create space for other players like wingers to once again get even more space than they have now. I mean, think about it. If you have two centre backs or more than one player, just religiously following Haaland around the pitch, say he drops deep and creates pockets of spaces for other players to run into, I think he's not only going to be a worry for other teams in the sense of the guy can stick the ball in the back of the net, because trust me, I'm not disregarding or discrediting his ability to do that. I believe he will score a shed load of goals, but I think his personality and his stature and what he's capable of doing will put teams in a bit of a uncomfortable position. Do they stick tight to this guy and just do their best to nullify him and hope that that's City's only threat on goal and City's only option? Or do they, stick out to their usual defensive systems, allow Haaland to have that bit more space, but then again he could, cause more trouble? It's a bit of a catch-22, Joe, for defences, and it's a great position for us to be in. And I think it's a question for Pep to answer. Does he want Haaland to just come in and be who he is, or is he going to have to think about these kind of things that I'm talking about? He's going to cause problems for defences, regardless of what style of play we play, I think. But once again, being new to the league and experiencing the league for the first couple of months, it's possibly unfair on us as fans to be saying this guy has to come in and score, 40 goals in the first season.
No, I think it's unfair to expect him to score many goals, because his main point is to be there to, when he gets a chance, to score it and create space. That's one thing that, albeit with the false nine, it's great having it, because a central defender's worst nightmare is having no one to mark, because that puts them in all sorts of bother, not knowing who to pick up when there's forward runs. But with a striker, it's completely opposite. They know who they have to pick up, but they almost have to pick him up everywhere he goes, which then creates gaps in the defence, which again could provide crucial to getting our other players involved. Like, we said that his passing might be slightly off, but he can just get other players involved with his movement and creating space. Like, that's something that he will bring that we haven't had for a long time. We haven't had it since Aguero and his movement. You know, it's something that, again, I'd imagine it'll be a slow start with City career. I'm not expecting the world. I'm not expecting to pull up trees straight away. Obviously, I'm hopeful. I'm ever hopeful that he will, because he's so good. He's so good. But again, listen, Pep's going to get into how he wants him to play. And I think being comfortable on the ball is step one. You saw with Ruben Diaz when he came over, he's, you know, in terms of his on the ball ability, it's progressed. He's much more comfortable playing from the ball out from the back. And I think Haaland will do the same, obviously, over time, but he will get there. But he will get there eventually. So much room to grow, and he will help from the off, regardless of, you know, he could go missing for 70 minutes and pop up with a goal when we could win 2-1. And he's done his job. He's done what we signed him for. He's come up with a goal. That's what we paid for. But again, same thing, if he makes space, if he has 2 defenders on him, and that allows someone like De Bruyne to make a run into the box, or Gundogan. We know Gundogan likes to make those late runs into the box. If that creates space for someone like that to score a goal, then again, he's done his job. We haven't signed him to win us absolutely everything. He's not the only piece of the puzzle. He's not, you know, the be-all and end-all of us winning absolutely everything. But he is a massive, massive help. And I can't wait to see, maybe 6 months down the line into his City career, how good he's actually become, how much he's progressed. Because Pep can do that to players. He makes them better.
And Pep is all about not allowing the team to be based around one player. Look at all of Pep's teams. Barcelona, he didn't allow that team to be totally centered around Messi. Likewise at Bayern Munich with the top players he had there. He's all about every single, you know, cog in the machine contributing to a successfully running team. And I think there's every possibility Haaland comes in and, you know, sets it alight from the off, you know, like similar to Aguero did. And I think I find it almost not annoying, but unfair on Haaland to expect him to do that, which is why I'm basically trying to just get that out there. It's a bit unfair on him to do that. If there's any player in the world that could do it, come straight away and set it like it is Haaland right now, and it'll be very exciting if he does. But maybe be patient, because he'll have a lot of learning to do. Likewise, what Jack Grealish has done this year, a lot of learning to do. But we haven't had a player with this level of ability to strike fear into defence and Sergio Aguero. I mean, Aguero obviously had that fantastic finishing ability, but that wasn't the only fear he struck into defences. Defences got worried when Aguero started to drop deeper into positions or moving out of his regular number 9 role, because then they're afraid that Sané or Sterling or someone is going to run in behind. And that's something that I think Pep will want talent to add to his game, is the ability to spot times and moments, etc., as to when he should move into where to allow someone else running behind. I firmly believe, and my stance is that we shouldn't, and I don't think Pep will, expect Haaland to be our only goal outlet. I think Haaland is brought in, of course, to be a massive goal contributor, but also to facilitate others in improving their own stats and goal contributions. I think you'll see a lot more assists from players who we know can assist, maybe just haven't been able to in the last 2 seasons because there hasn't been that target man in the middle. I mean, obviously you'd expect De Bruyne's numbers to improve. I think Sterling will be an interesting one to keep an eye on if he stays at the club. We're going to do a Sterling keeper sale video very soon on the channel, so keep an eye out for that. I think Haaland coming in will improve everybody in the long term. But short term, let's enjoy him. Let's enjoy him arriving to the club. Let's enjoy his debut, whether he scores or not. No pressure. Let's give this guy a pressure-free start to the club and see how he gets on. I think no player in the world is guaranteed to be successful, but this guy gives us a very positive feeling, doesn't he? He fills me with confidence. Listen, everybody, we enjoy talking about this guy. We're not going to be done talking about this guy. He's just signed a 5-year bumper contract, and we'll be talking about him for all those 5 years. Get involved down below in the comments and let us know your thoughts on everything we've said. How do you think Haaland is going to contribute to this team? How is he going to fit in? What way will Pep want him to play? Let us know down below in the comments. Do us a massive favour as well, if you would. Leave a like on the video. It helps us massively. We are now less than 100 subs away from our goal for the end of the season of 2.5k subs. If you would help us out in that journey, it would mean the world to us. Thanks very much for watching. Good night and God bless.